Welcome back. It's your boy, it's Springer. I am a Project Zomboid speedrunner, possibly considered the best in the world. That's up for debate. Depends on how good Exinal is that day. But anyways, today we're going to be doing a Project Zomboid positive traits video. I'll be honest, there are some traits that I do not know the icons well, so there might be some moments I have to cut and look a few things up, but do not worry, we're going to get through them all. I'm going to teach you a lot about Zomboid, and I guarantee you're going to learn something today. And don't worry, if you're not a speedrunner, these tricks will be good for multiplayer. They're going to be good for single player, modded. Whatever you're doing with Zomboid, these are going to be useful for you. They're going to help you out. We're going to jump right in with the positive traits. And we're going to start here. Basically, we're going to go through some really easy ones that I'm pretty sure there will be no real complications for. All right? So we're going to jump in with cat's eyes here. I'm going to say cat's eyes is pretty much always a must-have. Like, I don't really see a world where you don't take cat's eyes. Sure, you could carry around a flashlight, but flashlights can only be used with one-handed weapons, and when the best weapons in the world are probably an axe or a crowbar, well, you're going to see why it's so useful. I'm basically just going to jump at the ones I instantly know. Dexterous, I'm going to say I recommend dexterous. I'm actually not going to say it's 100% necessary, especially in single player, when you can just fast-forward time so fast every time you need to grab something. This will really never affect your game style. For a speedrunner, it is one of the most important traits to have. I don't think there's a single speedrunning build that does not take dexterous, because any time saves are so important, right? And dexterous is one of those time saves where it's like, this is such an easy time save. You never think about it, right? And even if we're speeding up time, saving a few frames, super important, right? Now let's talk about some of the multiplayer uses. You can't speed up time in multiplayer. That makes the value of this trait infinitely scale, right? Because you're basically saving your real life time. Instead of sitting there waiting for your character to pick something up, you are literally just getting to play the game you enjoy more. So I say dexterous, always recommend it. I would say you don't have to have dexterous. There is a world where you don't use it, right? Now let's go on to adrenaline junkie. Decent. Adrenaline junkie is decent, but it's one of those such a niche use. And the downside of panic is that your combat is going to be trash, right? So you don't even get an advantage. Like, I would pretty much recommend you never be panicked when fighting. Like, do not fight if you're panicked. It's always a bad idea. I don't fight panicked. I will get beta blockers. I will take brave. I will fight a couple Zeds, or I'll just go veteran with no panic. Panic is one of the #1 things that will reduce your melee damage. It's not an acceptable trait to have, in my opinion. Now that I brought up brave, let's jump into brave and actually talk about it a little bit, because that is a very interesting trait. I'm going to put it in meh, because the truth is the beta blockers are incredibly easy to get. You will never run out of them, really, unless you play a super long time. And by the time you play that long, guess what? You're not getting scared anymore, right? Like, you're not getting panicked anymore, because you survived long enough that this is just not going to become an issue for you. So now we can take a look at the next one I want to talk about. Actually, you know, I'll make one moment. I will go back to brave. Let's circle back to brave. There is one benefit to it. If you are playing a very melee-heavy build, and for some reason you can't get beta blockers. So an example would be LA Wave 5 speedruns, the last accumulator speedruns. Brave is really good there, because menuing to get the beta blockers can be a time loss of 5 or 6 seconds, and is not always worth the extra melee damage for it. So an interesting thought of brave might have some uses. In multiplayer, if you don't live very long, it can be useful depending on server settings. But in general, your panic levels on multiplayer are not determined by your character's survival. It's usually determined by the server's time, like the time the server has been alive, right? So if everyone logs off and the server doesn't run, then that's not really going, your panic's not going to go down, right? The server's only been alive 3 days, right? But if someone's always playing on a server, and you notice you're coming in on winter, then it's spring the next day you play, right? Then your panic is going to be going down very fast, very quickly, and I don't think you're going to run into this problem at all. So brave is one of those ones I really think you need to understand what you're doing to actually use it properly, right? Now that's moving on from that. Now let's talk about a few other things. Speed Demon. Speed Demon's an interesting one. It is a must-have, and it will always be a must-have, and if you think differently, I believe you are mistaken too. Speed Demon is an incredibly good trait. And if you don't take it, you're going to just get stuck in the grass. You're going to just get stuck, I don't know, out in the middle of the wilderness because your car can't get out of a forest, or you're surrounded by Zeds and you basically just are stuck there. And there's nothing you can do about it, right? There's nothing you can do about this. And Speed Demon will keep that from happening. Now, yes, of course, when you reverse your engine, it's going to be much, much, much louder. That can be alleviated, right? Don't go in reverse. It's actually not as hard as you think to never reverse a car. Just be careful where you take the car, right? Where you park the car, and you're never going to run into this issue of needing to reverse it. This is a must-have. Both of these. I don't care which one you take. I mean, they're kind of like, they look very similar. There's only a slight difference in the icon. I guess we'll switch it like this. I believe this is like the highest level of fitness, and this is the second highest level. Basically, you always want these traits. You want fitness to be as high as possible every single time. Because of this reason, high fitness means that you are just not going to get exhausted. You are not going to run out of endurance. You're going to fight better. You're going to swing faster, right? All of these things you're going to be much better at if you have these traits. It's when you don't have the fitness that you really feel it mattering, especially in speedrunning where we are always sprinting and we're always speeding up time. I can run a 10 fitness character to exhaustion in about 2 minutes if I want, right? And there's not a lot of zombies in the way. I mean, you have to remember the speedrunners, we're running to Louisville in 5 minutes. I can go from West Point to Louisville in 5 minutes on foot. So fitness becomes super important for the speedrunners. Sure. For multiplayer, I would say it's actually one of the more negotiable ones because you have teammates that can basically let you rest while they fight, and then they rest while you fight. And if you actually get into this cycle of fighting, right? Especially with 3 or 4 people, fitness really is not as important at that point. Other traits start becoming a bit. Let's go to baseball player. This is one that I would say is really meh. I don't see the extra long blunt really being that useful. I think long blunt is a pretty poor weapon choice, to be honest. I think a crowbar, while very durable, is just not going to do the job, and you're going to exhaust yourself trying. Honestly, the only weapon I would consider fighting with are axes, hand axes, and nightsticks. Because nightsticks are a really good short blunt because they're not going to wear you out, and they're very light. Anything else, I'd recommend just find a better weapon. If you know you're going to be using long blunt, then take the baseball player. It will certainly serve you well. No one's going to argue with low thirst. Is anyone here going to argue with low thirst? It is just such an unnecessary trait. Some speedruns will take it though. Let's talk about that. The metalworking speedrun involves us going to the mold pile up. We basically just sit there and grind out metalworking. We just disassemble everything, right? And we actually have to sit there for 3 or 4 days, and you can die of thirst. Sometimes low thirst can actually be a very nice thing to have if you're in certain kinds of speedruns where water is not always so reliable. And also you must remember that getting water is about a 2 or 3 second time loss, right? So these are the kind of things you want to think about. Where like, okay, actually, I don't need a lot of these traits. A lot of these traits don't help me. I don't need speed. I'm not using a car. So maybe I take low thirst to save time on drinking, right? These little things is how you make a really tight speedrun route. Let's talk about tailoring. I'm actually going to put this in. Now, that might be a shock to some of you. But for speedrunners, multiplayer, single player, tailoring is one of the strongest skills we can actually level up. To be honest, it really is. Why, right? Now, it is because tailoring gives us so much protection that we can basically infinitely take bites, right? We can infinitely take scratches as long as our clothing survives. We will have no major issue. Tailoring is one of the few things that we really can't start out with anything higher than level 1 because it's going to give us a permanent 75% XP boost that we will never get anywhere else. And that means we need to really value this trait. And of course, if you're doing tailoring speedruns, it is the most important trait you can possibly have. Now, I believe this one is Brawler. So this will give us +1 axe and +1 long blunt, aka the best skills in the entire game. I'd say recommend. Now, +1 axe is not that much. If you're going like lumberjack or firefighter, you're already going to have so much axe skill that it's really not going to be that necessary for you. Like I said, if basically I'm saying baseball player is meh, I'm saying the extra axe makes it very good. Let's get some easy no's out of the way. Nutrition is a waste. Even on multiplayer, it is a waste. Now, I actually do take it on multiplayer because I think it's really cool to see the calories in food. I just think it's neat to count all the macros and the calories. But honestly, I really like when server owners change this to like a 1-point trait or even a free trait because it actually doesn't really help you in the game. You know, it really is not helping you. It's just so fun. It's just such a good like role-playing trait that I really wish it actually did not cost like 4 points. I think 4 is way too many points for this, right? So that's kind of my situation here. Angler, I'm going to say is really, really meh. Now, on a fishing speedrun, of course, we want angler. But honestly, if you're that interested in fishing, just grab fisherman, right? Just go be a fisherman. Just be a proper fisherman, right? 4 points +1 fishing. Really? Do you know how fast you can get fishing? Just by the VHS, you could probably get level 5 or 6 without even touching a fishing rod. I've heard if you time it with the Life and Living TV, you can actually get up to 8, but I've never actually done a fishing speedrun myself. Come on, this is an incredibly matte trait, and I'm pretty sure everyone knows. Now, this is interesting. Unless you are specifically in a cooking speedrun, as most all traits are useful in some speedruns, right? This is a massive waste. Cooking is the fastest skill, in my opinion, to level up by far. Without any bonuses, with just the VHS and just reading books, you can get to around level 4 or 5 immediately. Like, it's really easy, right? It's not going to be something we struggle with. It's not going to be something we have trouble leveling. And then, okay, you want to level it? Guess what? Go make a stew and then dump the stew out and make another stew and just spam click the menu. I mean, I can get 8 to 10 cooking with bonuses in like 2 or 3 minutes max. It's very simple to do. It's very simple. What a waste. Eagle Eye is a massive waste of points. 0 speedruns take it. 0 speedruns will ever take Eagle Eye. It has almost no benefit. And you could actually argue that the vision cone is lower in Eagle Eye. Red and Naru, I'll link the video in the description. Red and Naru made a great video about this, of how Eagle Eye basically does nothing. It literally does nothing, and Hard of Hearing might even be better. And Def actually has the biggest cone, field of vision. Def literally has the biggest cone of vision. Def is actually the best for like seeing zombies. I mean, Eagle Eye is, I mean, not exactly as worse than Def. I'm exaggerating a little bit, right? Being a little dramatic, but it's bad. If Eagle Eye is saving you from getting bit, you have more problems than Eagle Eye, right? Eagle Eye is not fixing your problems, bro. If you're getting bit by zombies with like Hard of Hearing, it's not fixing your problem, bro. Fast Healer. Wow, I've never seen a more worthless trait in my entire life. Fast Healer doesn't even work. It's basically completely broken. I'll post another great Redinaru video because he basically teaches me everything I know about why Fast Healer is such a meh trait. It's really meh. Fast Healer doesn't even make you heal faster. It reduces the severity of some injuries, but will never stop you from dying. And there are some injuries where it seems to be like counterintuitive if it's actually even faster. It might just be the same. It's a very confusing trait that I think you definitely are going to need to take a look at the video, really decide for yourself if it's worth it. But the number one rule of Zomboid is don't get hurt. If you're having to heal, you've already gone wrong, right? You've already made a mistake. And this is not the trait that's going to fix this. Fast Learner is a must-have. It is one we must always have in our arsenal because Fast Learner is a 25% XP gain across the board. It scales with books. It scales with your trait XP bonuses. That makes this such an insanely powerful trait that I really feel like if you don't take this trait, you are hurting yourself. You're wasting your own time. Fast Learner, a must-have. Never play without it. Trust me, you're going to regret if you play without it. I recommend Fast Reader. Even fast forwarding 3 times, reading a book can legitimately take you an entire day. An entire day. I'm not wasting 10 minutes of my Zomboid life reading a book. Like, honestly, that is not what I'm interested in doing in Zomboid. I'm not interested in reading books. I want to play the game, right? So Fast Reader just saves me time in my real life, and that's important for me. First Aid, massive waste, terrible, terrible trait. First Aid is one of the most worthless skills in the game. I don't think a single person in the comments is going to argue with me that First Aid is an incredibly worthless trait. Here's an example of why First Aid is so meh. There has never been a First Aid speedrun submitted to speedrun.com. Me and the top runners have all discussed it. We all know how to do it. It wouldn't even be that long. It's just miserable. It's a miserable, miserable skill to level, and no one wants to level it. I don't blame them. I don't want to level it, right? Now this is former scout, if I'm not mistaken. I'm checking right now. Is that former scout? That, yes, former scout. -6 points, +1 first aid, +1 foraging. I'm only going to put this into decent for one reason and one reason only. I actually think foraging in Zomboid is one of the most slept on abilities in the entire game. It is such a powerful way to get rare loot in relative safety. Go to the trailer park, go to the trash piles, go foraging around there. You're going to find an insane amount of loot. I can actually show you a video, sir, link in the description as well, the Private Lions Trailer Park Only series. And he really shows you the power of foraging. You can legitimately just live in the wild and never worry about anything with just the power of foraging. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing skill. And it's something you all should be considering using more in your games. It's got to go a waste, chat. It's got to go a waste. This is farming. Come on, 3 farming. You're never gonna, it's not even 3, it's 1 farming. My bad, I forgot, it's 1 farming. You're never gonna convince me this trade is worth it. Farming is by far one of the easiest skills to level, maybe even more so than cooking. I'll actually tell you a secret. If you go to Moldro, I'm actually gonna show you right now. I'm gonna show you right now on this, right here. I'm gonna show you a beautiful farm, okay? We go to Moldro, and you go right a bit down here. I wanna say it's right around here. You see this farm? Now, of course, we're using the farmer trade and stuff, so we get a little XP bonus. But this farm, even without that, go read your books, watch your VHS, watch your life and living, harvest this plot. It's always here, by the way. There's not that many Zeds. Harvest this plot. You will be level 10 farming in every single game you ever play. you will be level 10 farming. So that makes this trait worthless. I like graceful. I'm a graceful guy. Graceful basically makes zombies less likely to knock you down, which is really interesting. Why you can't take graceful and clumsy. Think about what clumsy does. Clumsy increases your chance to slip, your chance to fall, your chance to trip over gates, your chance to get knocked down by zombies, where graceful basically does the opposite, but it doesn't say so. Also, it reduces the sound radius of your footsteps, which is really useful because you may not know this, but zombie stealth is not what you think, and it does not work the way you think. Zombie stealth is very interesting. If a zombie sees you, they will always detect you. They are checking to see your character about 100 times a second. Now that's a lot of time. That's a lot. So even if you have a 1% chance of, only a 1% chance you're going to get spotted by a zombie, well, they're going to check 100 times. What are the chances they're not going to roll the dice the right way and find you? They're always going to see you. You could test yourself. Go start a game up. Go walk in front of a zombie with max stealth, max light-footed, graceful, everything. They're going to see you. But sound, sound stealth, that works quite well. And that's why graceful can be such a powerful option. This is gymnast. Now, this is what I was thinking about with the light-footed and the nimble. I love nimble. If you ever heard the term the Congo lining zombies, right? Where you get them in a one-on-one line and you attack them, this is what does that. Gymnast is what does that. It's incredibly powerful, and it will enable you to fight massive hordes of zombies without getting in danger, without getting bit. I love it. It's great. Now, this is an amazing trait. You get +1 short blunt. You get +1 carpentry, and you get higher building health. Player-made construction health is up, and you make things faster. This is overall a very strong trait. Something I'd really consider. Carpentry is one of the more useful skills in the entire game, because without carpentry, you can't really carry stuff, right? Here's the thing. Most other professions, I don't need them. Tailoring I need, but I rank tailoring quite high, right? The only reason tailoring is not in B is because it's only +1, and tailoring is really easy to level. But carpentry, it doesn't matter if I can go out and find a rank collector barrel. They're all over the map. You can find them super easily. You're going to break every single one of them picking them up, right, chat? So, like, this is one of those things where, like, I don't want to deal with this RNG bullshit bothering me so much. So I just grab carpentry, get a little +75% XP, read my books, watch my TV, boom. I'm at such a high level of carpentry, I don't even need to worry about it. I'll give you an example of some of the things I've been talking about. Cooking. Let's talk cooking. The world record for maxing cooking is 5 minutes and 40 seconds. The world record for carpentry is 7 minutes and 44 seconds, right? The world record for tailoring is 24 minutes. And I think I did 13 seconds, right? The world record for farming is about 8 minutes, 40 seconds. You're seeing how easy it is to level these. Now let's go to hiker. Hiker is an interesting trait because I like the foraging and I like the trapping, which is really good. I've told you before, I think foraging is really good. I think trapping levels are even better. If I think this is decent, then this has to be better. Simply by the nature of it's better than first aid. I would even say it's the top of the C tier. Because foraging, again, is very powerful, and trapping, again, is a great source of food. That's really easy. You want to start trapping? You don't need a saw. You don't need nails. You don't need twine. You don't need any of these complicated things. Go read a magazine. Go grab a single thing of wire and make a wire trap. GG's, you got rabbits, your food days are done. Day 1. Let's talk hunter. I love hunter. Here's my theory. If you're going to use guns, you better have some aiming levels because there is a world of difference between 1 aiming and 0 aiming. And you will see that aiming is basically an exponentially harder skill. Once you're past level 5, it becomes much harder to level up. So level 5 aiming is already very good, as most people who play Zomboid know. So getting that up there, oh man, it's amazing. It's amazing. You get a little short blade, nothing wrong with that. A little sneaking. It's overall just an amazing ability. You also get the extra trapping. I mean, come on, you can't really go wrong here. Can't really go wrong with hunter. Inconspicuous, absolutely garbage, worthless trait. Some speedruns do take it just for the tiny fraction of a percent that it will save us from getting attacked by a Z, right? That is the only time we will ever use it. But the truth is that this is not a good trait. This has never been a good trait. It never will be a good trait because zombies just check. They run the code to see if you're detected so many times a second that there's really just no point in trying to stealth past zombies. There's no point in it. Iron gut, that's it. Garbage. Don't eat bad food ever. Don't drink bad water ever. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't get into a situation where this trait saves you. If this trait saves you, then you did something wrong in your game of Zomboid, and you'd be better off dying and playing another character so that you can learn not to get in that situation again. And even if you are, get lemongrass. Just get lemongrass, you're going to be okay. Even with weak stomach, you can survive bad water if you get yourself well fed enough and have a little bit of luck. It's tough. Keen hearing, I'm going to say decent. Okay, I think keen hearing is a complete another way, but my opinion is as a speedrunner again. So we hate keen because we use the Y2 speed up. So the walk 2 speed up to move. Basically, we're just constantly speeding up time. We're basically playing the game in double speed. But whenever zombies come by, it knocks us out of that speed up, right? And we can't get back into the speed up until the zombies are out of our range. Well, keen hearing increases our range. Therefore, keen hearing tends to be pretty meh for speedrunners. But when you're playing Zomboid normally, this can save your life. 100%. This can save your life, actually, because you're going to see zombies coming up behind you. Hard of hearing and keen hearing actually have very similar ranges, but keen hearing is significantly better than normal hearing. You can watch that Retinara video. I feel like the cones of radius that your character observes are very strange. And I think once you play with and without keen hearing, you'll notice that keen hearing is not doing as much as you, but it does still help you survive, which is why I put it in decent. Light Eater, actually, I'm a fan of Light Eater. I actually find that it's much easier to put on weight in Zomboid than to keep weight off. Keeping weight off requires me to have a lot of produce on hand, right? Low calorie feeling produce or to eat all the time. Very annoying. Like, oh, I can stay like very underweight if I just keep eating berries, but finding them is annoying. Cabbages, watermelons, super high in calories. You can't even trust fruits. They're all very high in calories. So Light Eater can actually be a really good way to balance. Your character needs to eat every 3 days or you die versus I don't want to become super overweight and lose my fitness, my strength. I actually find Light Eater is really solid. I would say like the Heavy Eater negative trait is kind of meh, but Light Eater, I like Light Eater. Lucky is one of those ones. I'm going to say consider Lucky. It is such an interesting trait. Obviously, in multiplayer, this has a no effect. In speedrunning, we always take Lucky because the majority of the loot that we want is the rare loot. Now, is this going to change your game? No. Is this going to make anything significantly better in your life? No. But is this worth considering? I think it's worth considering. I think this could be very interesting. So this is one that I think is pretty decent, actually. The amount of mechanics you get is very low, but it does have one advantage that I find really interesting. It teaches you how to do basic maintenance on all car models. And if you don't happen to know this, it is actually very, very, very tricky to find some of the car magazines. So this is something where you may want to consider like, oh, okay, maybe I actually should take this so I don't have to worry about not finding the magazines or not being able to change a tire in my car, even though everyone should know how to do that anyways. You don't really need to be an amateur mechanic to have changed a tire. Organized, I'd say consider it. This is a very, very easy trait to drop. It's a very easy trait to grab. It's a very personal preference, in my opinion. In multiplayer, I would say it's a must-have, or anyone you base with is going to hate you because they're always going to have to redo your storage, right? Redo your organization. I would say if you are a speedrunner, you never want this. You never store anything. It doesn't matter. Storage is meaningless to you. Because remember, organized does not affect what your character can carry. It only affects secondary containers. It does not affect your character's primary inventory, and there are currently no speedruns that I know of that use bags, because we just do not need. So you could make an argument that metalworking speedruns would be better with a bag. Now, it's a very interesting argument. It's very hard to get a bag without it being a direct time loss, though. So let's talk about that. Single player, though, I think this really falls off. Storage is infinite. Get your carpentry to 10, like I already taught you how to. Go to any of the stores with the wooden crates, them up, take them home, stack them 3 high in your yard, and boom, infinite. Outdoorsman, I love outdoorsman. I would say for 2 points, it's a must-have. Not being as affected by weather, just peak. Not worrying about the rain, not worrying about the snow. Everything is better with outdoorsman. You don't get cold as quickly. You don't get colds. They don't last as long. You lose severity. Basically, this is making you cold-proof. You're cold-proof, bro. You're perfect. You're cooking, right? You want outdoorsman. It's amazing. Pretty much always take it. Always take it. Interesting one here. Resilient. I'm going to say terrible. I think it's terrible. I think it does almost nothing for your character. Who cares if you get diseases less, right? Like, who cares if you're... I mean, yeah, sure. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, my colds aren't as strong. I don't get them as often. I recover faster. You're not doing CCDA. You're just playing Zomboid. Get outdoorsman, and then you don't get a cold. You don't need to worry about cold severity or getting a cold if you never get a cold. So resilient is really worthless. It's completely worthless. It's 4 points. Why would you ever do that? And who cares if you become a zombie slower? You're dead. You're donzo. You're dunzo. You're out of here. You might as well just, just take yourself out. Just, reset everything, all right? Because there's no point in this. There's no point in trying. Who cares if you're a zombie one day? Still dead. I would say recommend runner. +1 sprinting. Sprinting is very annoying to level up. Having a permanent XP boost on sprinting, ooh, that's peak. That's so peak. And sprinting is actually a really powerful skill. Because once you get it high enough, man, you're actually saving significant amounts of your your IRL time, your real time playing the game. Instead of just spending all your time running around, you're actually just playing the game. You're fighting, you're looting, you're crafting. You're doing fun things, not traveling from point A to point B, right? Again, I prefer traits that help me save time in my real life. Of course, for speedrunners, every single build that's ever existed has taken a runner. It's infinite, instant time save that we don't have to think about. Of course, max strength is one of the best things in the world. I've told every single new player of Zomboid, if they ever ask for advice, max strength, max fitness. Boom. You're already set. You're already going to be great. Lumberjack, get an axe. You're playing the game that was meant to play. You're playing like a king. You're playing like a god. This would obviously be secondary, right? I would say it's about this ranking right here. So I would say these two actually go above here. We're going to do a little adjustment here. And then I would say it goes like this. I think that's about right. Again, I'm going to do the same thing here, where I think that these are just such good traits that you just can't beat them, right? I would say Hunter probably goes above here. Lucky goes at the bottom. I'm not going to put Lucky up here. I'm going to put Lucky down here. It just doesn't do enough. I really don't think it does enough. Hiker is really good. Keen Hearing I'd put up here. And I think the rest of these are about right. So I would say Resilient probably goes to the top of F tier because it actually does do something. And then Conspicuous. Nutritionist would probably be the absolute worst trait you could ever take, to be honest. Except maybe first aid. Now, well, we got that adjusted a little bit. Let's go to thin-skinned. I am a pretty anti-fan of thin-skinned. My philosophy in Zomboid has always been, if you get bit or scratched or lacerated, you messed up, you probably should start a new character. That's why, like, if I do play Sandbox, which I almost never do, I will turn on instant zombie infection because I don't want to sit there and wait, am I dead or not? No, I just want to know that moment so I can move on with my life, right? Now, let's talk Wakeful. I love Wakeful, but I would say don't recommend it, but I love it. For speedrunners, it can be amazing. Sleep is a time loss. We don't want to sleep, right? Number two, you need to sleep less and you get more rested. Exhaustion and being tired is actually one of the worst feedback loops ever. If you're too tired, you cannot recover your exhaustion. So if you get too tired and then zombies run you down and you're heavily exerted, you're just going to be slower than the zombies and die. This can sometimes keep that circle from starting as early in the day, giving you more time to get things done. Later in the late game, it doesn't matter if you're like, oh, I wish my character could sleep because it's daytime. Take sleeping pills, drink alcohol, go to sleep, right? You can control getting tired much more easily than you can control waking up, right? Same as real life. You can have a coffee, but it ain't gonna do that much if you didn't sleep all day. But if you're not that tired, pop back a couple cold ones, you can be sleepy real quick. Pop a sleeping pill or two, you're going to bed, right? I am guaranteeing that there's some speedrunner bias in what I said, but I will say I do think that my traits are relatively reasonable. And I would say I think it's a relatively fairly balanced trait tree for anyone that's really interested in Zomboid or wants to learn more about how the traits work and why I think certain traits are more valuable than others. I'm sure you're going to disagree with me, especially you heavily modded multiplayer players. You might be working with very different circumstances than me. So in the comments, if you really disagree with me, give me your opinion. Tell me why. I'll let you know if I agree or not. I do not promise that I'm going to agree with you. I mean, I have pretty strong opinions, but I do change them if you can give me good information. I don't do a lot of these more vloggy, long-term videos. So if you like it, I'd appreciate a like, appreciate a comment. And I would love if you could subscribe, kind of encourage me to start making more content. I got a lot of Zomboid knowledge I want to share. I'm just curious if there's an interest out there. Thank you very much. I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.